let's face it, the Rams are definitely the team that everybody wants to beat. What are some of the players that upcoming year that you'd be leaning on as far as another championship campaign?
Well, we lost all 11 starters on defense. Offensively, we lost 2 All-American quarterbacks, along with a whole host of others. But the staff, done a great job over the past couple of seasons as far as recruiting high school talent, working more on getting some system guys. The transfer market is still wide open for us. We haven't closed off recruiting yet for this season. That's something that we do every day. That's your number one lifeline. And with the support of the chancellor, support of the athletic director and her staff, along with a great coaching staff that I've surrounded ourselves with, recruiting, it's at an all-time high. So it's a great time to be a Ram, and, we're excited.
When it comes to Ram Nation, let's face it, the seats become red because Ram Nation really comes in. Talk about the support of your team and also the fans, especially on the road, because Ram Nation travels very strong.
If it's one thing that has me most excited about traveling and being on the road, not afraid to take on a road opponent, is our fan support. Everywhere you go up and down the highway, it's red, red, red. And, even far as the visitor side, depending on the size of the venue, it's very likely you'll look over to the other side of the home field and you'll see a lot of red.
And one final question, Coach. What are some of the support staff that you have in place for your upcoming freshmen, also transferred, to help them on and off the field?
Well, Tanya Walker, our athletic director, has charged the athletic department every year with community service hours. In this past off-season, we were charged with 3,000 hours of community service. So we've not just brought people in to talk to our student athletes. We send our student athletes out to speak to other people. So we try to take charge. So we use preventative maintenance in a lot of ways in trying to support our student athletes. And, most of that credit goes to our athletic director.
Right. I'll try one last question, sir. Your first game, I think, is against Pembroke.
UNC Pembroke.
Right. Your first couple of games, do you think the team will be able to not only mentally prepare for that game, but how will that springboard you into conference play?
Well, we choose not to focus so much on the game in itself. Right now we're focusing on ourselves. We do have some new pieces to the puzzle, and right now chemistry will be more important than, UNC Pembroke. If we focus so much on Pembroke, you got to keep in mind you have another game that next week. So if we can get our chemistry together as a team, as an offense, defense, and special teams, and continue to, grow as one, everything will be okay for us.
Okay, thank you.
Coach Stephen Gaither, HBCU Game Day. You guys have come in last couple of years and been predicted to win first. And last year, of course, it didn't happen. For those players who had only known success, what do you think last year's finish has done to their, has helped? How you think it's helped them prepare for this year?
It's reignited the fire. Everybody understands it's a little bit more difficult than just showing up and playing a football game. By us facing that adversity of that loss, it kind of reignites that fire because, for that senior class, that was one less piece of jewelry they could have walked out of here with. You had some guys that could have claimed to say, hey, in my 4-year period of time, I won 4 divisional and 3 conference championships. We are beatable. We're not invincible, and Virginia State proved that last year. But the way we look at things, we're either 2 plays away or 2 players away from being undefeated last year. So if you take away the mistakes, and those are the things we choose to focus on, minimize those mistakes, minimize your turnovers, continue to surround yourself with good people, recruit every day, knowing that that's your lifeline, everything else will fall into place for us.
And, you talk about the passing game is obviously going to be a question. You replacing Phil Sims and you're replacing Rudy Johnson, and also replacing Maurice Lewis, who ran for a lot of yards for you guys. Just on offense, is there any guy in the spring that's kind of stood out and stepped up and taken a leadership role, both on the field and off the field for you guys, that you're really looking forward to in the next season?
Well, the first thing we did is we took a step back into the past and landed John Etter, who's our offensive coordinator. And Coach Etter brings back the offense that took us to the national championship game. With that national championship performance, we were more balanced with the running game and the passing game. Your best offense is a good defense. Staff-wise, we got the best that we can find. Player-wise, if it comes down to it, we'll run the football. We're going to do what it takes to be successful. We're not going to be one-dimensional. We're not just going to sit back and say, hey, let's attack the quarterback. If it comes down to it, we'll hand the ball off to Tyree Massey, who right now is probably projected starter at running back for us, and that's a big back.
Coach Creighton Rabs from Hero Sports. We were briefly alluding back to the schedule. When you open up the season with a very daunting non-conference slate like Pembroke, Valdosta, and Tuskegee, how does that prepare your squad as a whole when you go into CIAA play?
Well, the question is, where do we want to be? We like to be in a national picture. In order for us to achieve our goals and get to where we want to be, you got to take on the best. When it comes to regional rankings, all of that stuff will take effect on us. So our goal is to win our next football game. It's not to win, the first 3 games. It's to win our next football game.
Mike, talk about some of the returning players or some of the newcomers who you think will have a big impact for your unit this year. And then Marcel, if you have anything to add on the offense.
Well, one defensive lineman I've seen so far is Phil. He transferred in from UNC. He's about the same size as me. He's very athletic. He can also cover in the pass. So I think he will be a key player that will come to our defense. Returning players, we have people like Matt Browning who will help out Bullock and Kadeem Brewer-Nunn back there at DBs.
Also, as the offense, we have great receivers, great running backs. Like Tyree Massey, as Coach said, he's a great back, strong, physical. We got also returning receivers like Eric, Williams. He's a great receiver. Kenny Patterson. So we're going to come back strong, focus.
Hi, Coach. John Emmett, WVST Radio. 2 questions for you. Number one, you mentioned you lose 11 starters on defense. You got a quarterback who's now in a National Football League camp, and you're still picked to win the league. What do you think that says about your program?
Well, the reputation that we've built for ourselves, the dynasty that we're currently a part of, I thank the conference office and the opposing coaches for that vote of confidence in Winston-Salem State University. Winston is a very great place to be. Facility-wise, we're ranked top 5 in the country. Staff-wise, I'm not sure if it's the reputation of the staff. It's the reputation that we carry, wearing that red and white. But it feels good to be in this position. I'm thankful.
It sounds like you have a pretty wide-open battle at quarterback going into camp. Is that a challenge from a practice management standpoint, making sure guys get the reps so you can make the best decision?
We're going to do whatever it takes to be successful. If our quarterbacks are having problems throwing the football, then we'll run the football. The key for us is to keep it mixed and balanced.
This question's for the players. As far as the loss in the CIAA championship game last year, Coach is talking about how much it reignites the fire, but how much does it still sting, and how much motivation has that provided for you guys through the spring and the summer?
Well, it's football. You win some, you lose some. It was a tough loss. I go watch the film on that game like every day just to try to look at mistakes and things we did good. But it's just all about, I always say, perfection. That's what we fight for every day in practice. When we come together as a team, we fight for perfection. So that's the goal for this team this year.
It hurt. It stings still to this day, and it burns a fire into me that I want to be the best that I can be, and I want the players around me to feel that energy, that we can come together and we can dominate the teams in the conference, and we can go back and win the CIAA championship this year.
And Coach, I have a question for you as far as losing all 11 starters on defense, and that is your specialty coming from the defensive background. How do you replace all of that talent on that side of the ball and still keep some type of continuity with the success you've had with Ram defense?
Well, the focus has always been chemistry, and that's where the recruitment takes place over the last couple of years. If you've paid attention to detail, we've signed a large number of freshmen versus the transfer market. And, when you look at Michael Bloomfield last year, he wasn't listed as a starter, but I can tell you that Michael Bloomfield was just as talented, if not more talented than anybody we had on that defensive front.
What will be the strength of this team this year with all the time that you lost on both sides of the ball last year?
That's hard to say at this point in time. Spring ball was successful for us. We had a chance to, iron out some things. Had a chance to get Coach Eder back in the fold and let him re-implement the offense like it was before. If I had to put a target on anything, I would say our secondary is going to be strong. We got a very talented group of linebackers that are going to be young. They'll be very athletic. Xavier Gregory will be one of those guys that will bring some experience back into the fold at the linebacker position.
And speaking of you specifically, it was your first year last year, and you guys were not able to get the CIAA championship. How about you? What does that mean to you, not being able to do that in your first year, and what motivation it provides for you going into year two?
Well, if I was not a part of the success in the previous 4 years that we've had, I would say, it was more of a disappointment. But if you recall last year, I did mention at the CIAA press conference that I felt like some of our bigger opponents were right here within the CIAA. I know the CIAA has gotten better year in and year out, and I don't expect anything less this year.
And being a part of this conference and the growth that it's had and the competition, what does it say about you guys being picked first year in and year out and being at the top of this conference when it comes to competing for the championship?
Well, first thing I like to do is thank Jackie McWilliams, our commissioner. She's done a great job of putting things together. The last couple of days has been wonderful for the student athletes and the coaches. With the community engagement yesterday with the clinic with the little kids, everybody enjoyed themselves. As far as a football conference, it's not just about football. All of our sports are, peaking right now, and it's at a great time.